So my commitment to myself is huge. Sometimes huger than, how do I word this? So on a Saturday morning, I go take class, even though my kids are home.
Yeah.
Because I believe that that's the most important thing that I can do for myself and for my family. Period. End of story. Right. So that's a priority, and it's not something that I feel guilty about. And that's it. I took a trip. And again, like, I was lucky that I got to take a trip, but I took a trip without my children, without my husband, with my cousin and her parents. And it's really funny because never say never, right? So when I used to look at a woman who would leave her family and go take a trip before I was married and with my own children, I may have had an opinion about that.
Yeah.
And I may have thought, oh, I would never do something like that. I wouldn't leave my family. I would, right? You have all these thoughts.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of Peace and Plenty in 20. I am your host, Janine Daramo, coach for midlife women, transformation expert, and really just your place to come every week for 20 or sometimes more minutes of inspiration, information, and just a place where you can feel like this is something I need to hear. This will help me get through my day, help me get through my week. That's the point of my show. Today, I'm actually doing a throwback episode. I filmed this episode a few years ago at my Midlife Mama conference. Thara Natalie is a yoga teacher, a Reiki expert, a spiritual warrior, if you will. And I thought it was really important to share this episode this week because I just had a women's circle last night, and if you were there, you know what I'm talking about. And one of the things we were discussing is how can we get even just a little bit of peace and calm in our very busy days. We're trying to find this elusive idea of balance, but guess what? We can fit it in just 10, 15 minutes. And I went back to this conversation with Thara because she is such a great proponent of take the 10 minutes in your car, take the 15 minutes to meditate wherever you are. This episode will have you thinking about new ways to take care of yourself and to honor your inner desires, your peacefulness, your self-care. And I urge you to really take some action when you finish listening to the episode, where you can write down in your calendar what you're going to do, how are you going to make time for yourself, and just make these small additions to your daily routine. So, without further ado, enjoy.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Oh, just looking at your space behind you, I already feel like
Peaceful.
more peaceful.
Yay.
Oh,
Good.
beautiful.
That's
Welcome.
cool. Thank you so much.
So Thara, I'm going to let you introduce yourself because I'm afraid I'm not going to do it justice because you do so many things. So I would like to give you the honor of sharing with everyone all the things you do.
Thank you so much. So my name is Thara Natalie. I am a health coach, a over 500-hour yoga teacher, and a Karuna Reiki master.
I love it.
And mama of 2 babies and wife.
And wife, all the things.
Can't forget all of that.
All the things. So now share with us, you have your own studio?
I do. I own my own studio called Fire Shaper. It's in Tenafly, New Jersey. It's about to turn 7 years old. We made it through the pandemic. So that's been a journey. And then during the pandemic, what was really, really special for me was that I got to create. Funny enough, it wasn't something that happened because of the pandemic. I had already created the company in December, 3 months before everything happened. So I had, registered Spirit Warrior as my new virtual company that I was going to be launching, having no idea what was about to happen to the world. So I have my Spirit Warrior breathworknation.com. So that's where I do all things virtual wellness, because after running the studio for 5 years, the thing that was really that I was struggling with internally was the idea that, I could only work with people within these four walls, people who could come to me in Tenafly. But what about everyone else? I really felt called to be able to serve and help more people. So Spirit Warrior Nation has allowed me to do that. And really the pandemic allowed me to do that because it opened the virtual world up in a different way that people were more willing to do it. So I host courses there. We do virtual Reiki sessions, which people are like, you can do Reiki virtually, but you can, and it's so powerful and incredible. So I have that as well.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about that. I'm curious myself. So how does that work?
So for those who might not know what Reiki is energy healing. And before I was introduced to it, I was very pessimistic, I might say, not because I didn't believe in it, but almost I was fearful of it. I kind of felt like, well, this is my energy and I don't want anyone else touching my energy. That made me uncomfortable. But then a friend got certified. So when my friend got certified, I was like, okay, I feel safe. So I tried it with him and I had such incredible results from it. It's just super relaxing. You're not doing anything. You basically go into a nice, I call it a Reiki nap. So you take a little meditation nap laying on a table and they never touch you. There's no touching. It's just energy. They just feel your energy. And after my first session, he said to me, there's something with your knee. And I said, yeah, there's something with my knee. How did you know? He's like, I could feel it. So I'm like, I've been to the ortho specialist and they told me that I needed to do more squats and lunges, which you're speaking to an extreme fitness person who trains and who does yoga 5 days a week. And you're telling me to do more squats and lunges. That just didn't seem like it was the answer to my issue. But from an x-ray perspective, there wasn't much that they could see, but I was having significant discomfort in my knee. Fast forward, we do 4 sessions, as after the first session, I'm like, pain's moving. So he's like, that's good. It's clearing out. There's something that you need to deal with in your life. When it's like your knees, it's often something that you're not dealing with, something that you need to move forward on, but you're not moving forward. I figured out what it was. Knee problem healed. And now I know as soon as my knee hurts, like that's a trigger point for me. So as soon as my knee hurts, I have to sit down and sit with myself and see what is going on in your life that you're not taking forward, moving on. So it became this like amazing tool for me. And I fell in love with it. And what happens with me is whenever I fall in love with something, my goal becomes to share it. So that's how I became a health coach. That's how I became a yoga teacher, because I find all these tools that are like little miracles. And we all walk around suffering or in pain or unhappy or unnourished in some way, right? And I find these things and I'm like, wait, but you can get help. And it's kind of simple. It doesn't have to be this huge thing. It doesn't have to be medication. Like there's so many other ways that we can help nourish ourselves. So that's why I'm all of these different things, because then I like to share it with other people.
Which makes perfect sense. I'm curious on a personal level. So you have a lot going on, right? So you're pouring out a lot of nourishment to others.
Yes.
So how do you make sure that you nourish yourself? Like, how do you ensure that you take the time and the space that you need to nourish your mind, your body, and your spirit?
So my commitment to myself is huge. Sometimes huger than, how do I word this? So on a Saturday morning, I go take class, even though my kids are home.
Yeah.
Because I believe that that's the most important thing that I can do for myself and for my family. Period. End of story. Right. So that's a priority and it's not something that I feel guilty about. And that's it. I took a trip. And again, like I was lucky that I got to take a trip, but I took a trip without my children, without my husband. with my cousin and her parents. And it's really funny because never say never, right? So when I used to look at a woman who would leave her family and go take a trip before I was married and with my own children, I may have had an opinion about that.
Yeah.
And I may have thought, oh, I would never do something like that. I wouldn't leave my family. I would, right? You have all these thoughts because it's always looking from the outside. You think you know something. But then when you're on the inside, you're like, oh, I get it now. So I just recently took a trip and I didn't take my kids and I didn't take my husband and I said, bye.
And the little bit I saw on social media, you were nourishing yourself.
Yes, right? I was. And it was heavenly and I slept and I took baths and I enjoyed. And you know what? My husband takes a lot of trips for work. So I wind up carrying a very large part of the load as the mother and as the house, you know, as the in the household. So I said to myself, you know what? He's home for these days and then he's going to be traveling again. So I'm doing this for myself because I need it.
Yeah, 100%.
No. And then on the smaller levels, everyone knows you can catch me napping in my car.
I love it. I'm
totally take a nap in my car.
Big proponent of naps. So I'm really happy to hear that.
Naps are so important. Don't feel guilty about napping. And I meditate in my car even. Like if I'm in between things and I'm not in this space, that doesn't mean that I don't meditate. I'm going to pop my meditation in wherever I am. Because again, that's something that I truly, truly have found is a game changer. And it's 10 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes. That's all you need.
Yes.
And it's so much more clarity, so much more productivity. And just so much more peacefulness in how you approach everything.
So share with us, if you will, because I know some people say they've tried to meditate and they just feel like they can't do it or they get distracted. So what advice would you have for anybody that either hasn't tried it or has tried it and says, you know, it just doesn't work for me?
Not for me. So I would say this, the more that you think you can't do it is the more that you need it. Number one, right? The more you think you can't do it, the more you need to do it. But number two, there's so many different types of meditations, right? We all have this image of the yogi sitting under the tree in a perfect locust pose, meditating. That is not the only way that you can meditate. So you really have to play with all the different types of meditation until you find the one that serves you. So my meditation practice it changes every week and it's different all the time. When I first started, I used the mala beads. So that it kind of like, you know, some people might think it looks like a rosary, and it has the beads and you count the beads. And every time you go through a bead, you say a mantra. So you can create your mantra or your affirmation, what your intention is going to be. And you keep just repeating that over and over as you pass over the beads. I love doing meditations with music, right? So I have lots of peaceful playlists that I listen to. Then I do guided meditations, which I offer online on Spotify, because sometimes you need a guide in the beginning. Sometimes the idea of sitting in pure silence with yourself is very scary. Lots of stuff comes up, right? Yeah. And you might not be ready to deal with all the stuff yet. So the guided meditations can be really beautiful. And then there's like walking meditations, right? It doesn't have to be, like I said, the quintessential image that you have of it, but really taking a walk, you know, going on a hike and going through a mindfulness meditation, really paying attention to each footstep, listening to all the sounds of the birds, listening to the sounds of the leaves. There's lots of different ways that you can do it, but it's really about creating space where we're not being flooded with noise, right? We're always, the TV's on, the radio's on, we're scrolling social media. We're always,
yes,
it's always coming out.
We're bombarded with noise all the time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
So it's really about creating a little bit of space where you're not sleeping, but you're creating a little bit of space for stillness.
I love that. So I was wondering, would you be willing to guide us through just maybe like a 5-minute meditation?
Absolutely. I would love to do that.
because I think that's the best way. You know, the more you see different people try it and the more you practice it. I heard someone say it's called a meditation practice for a reason.
Exactly. It's not a meditation perfect. And same thing with yoga, right? It's a practice. So what I'll do with you guys first is I'm going to just do a little breathing with you. So I love doing these breathing exercises because, again, same thing. You can do them anywhere. No one will even know that you're doing it. You could do it at your desk while you're at work. You could do it in the car while you're driving before you go into an important meeting. But so often we're just not breathing. Right? When we get stressed out, when we get tense, what do? We hold everything, clenches, tightens, the muscles tighten, the heart rate rises, and then we walk into the meeting all anxious and stressed out. But with breath, we're bringing more oxygen to the cells, we slow the heart rate, the muscles relax, and it allows your thoughts to flow more clearly. So the breathing we're going to do first, we're just going to do this chest versus belly breathing. So I want you to put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly and just start to breathe naturally and notice what you notice. Do you notice that the breath goes more to your chest or more to your belly? So when we're stressed, often we're going to find that the breathing lands more in the chest and more tightening, more constricted, more like that panicking breath that we take, right? So we want to really learn to direct the breath down to the belly to really ground down. And then what you can start to focus on is the length of the breath. So try to inhale for 4, then hold for 4, exhale for 4. Inhale, hold, exhale. And then slowly coming back.
Such a difference just doing that.
Right? It's so simple.
Yeah. And like you said, I think the beautiful thing is you can do this anywhere.
Anywhere.
So it's not like you need anything special. It's just you and your body.
That's it. You, your body, your breath. That's all you need.
And what happens if your mind starts to wander?
So the biggest thing, I think the biggest misnomer people have about meditating is I have to clear my mind. I'm not supposed to think. We have millions of thoughts. It's impossible to say you're not going to think when you're first starting your practice. So throw that out the window. You're going to think. The point is to not create a story. So I always use the grocery list as an example because it's one that we can all relate to, right? So you're closed eyes, you're meditating, and you're like, oh, I have to go to the grocery store. Oh, I need to get milk. Oh, I need to get eggs. I need apple. And you start creating the list, right? It's okay. You can think I need to go to the grocery store and then release it. Okay. And then another thought will come.
Let it go.
Let it go. Just don't create the story. Don't create the list. And when you do start creating the story, come back to your breath. Just use your breath as your anchor point. Always come back to your breath.
I love that. And I also like that you mentioned before, it's so true. Sometimes we don't realize that we're not breathing. I mean, that's why they have that feature on the Apple Watch.
Yeah.
And it's true. Sometimes I look at it and it's telling me to breathe. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not breathing. And then, like you said, we wind up living in this like chronic low-level stress at all times, and the effects that has on our body. is a little concerning.
A little concerning. Yes, exactly. And it leads to so many different, we're all predispositioned from our genetics to have different diseases show up. So for some people, it might show up in their heart because their family has heart conditions. For some people, it might show up in their stomach, depending on your genetic predisposition. So we really can counterbalance those things with the food that we put in our body and with what we do to help reduce stress. If you'd like, I don't mind closing with a quick little sound bowl.
I would love it.
Okay, perfect. So I have these sound bowls here. So the sound bowls are tuned to different chakras in our body. So they help to clear energy within the body. So sound is very healing, creating that vibration throughout your body. Take a nice deep breath in. And a deep breath out, feeling yourself release into this time, into this space. Allow your forehead to soften, your eyelids to float, your jaw to release, no clenching, no tightness. Just breathe into your heart space and feel that expansion in your heart. And see a beautiful white light surrounding you, creating a bubble of light, a bubble of peace, a bubble of protection all around you. Slow, deep, grounding breaths. And just always be reminded that you can find this peace at any time that you choose during your day. Just pop in and pause.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Thara. It was so nice having you on.
I'm so glad. Thank you for having me on. Happy to share.
And we're going to offer a little discount on a Reiki session.
Yes, absolutely.
The follow-up email with all of you guys, so you'll get that after the conference. And have a peaceful rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much.
Okay, bye. Bye, everyone.